Hola a todos y bienvenidos a Transcend y la Familia. Mi nombre es Aisle. En muchas redes sociales, mi nombre es Sachi Ice Queen. Am, Hoy tenemos un invitado muy especial que está en el otro parte del mundo. Estoy bien emocionada para que ustedes puedan escuchar su acento, su inglés, su misión, lo que él hace. Él hace muchas cosas para las personas de negocios en el mundo. Está planeando unos eventos globales en Italia, en Japón, en muchas partes de Europa, porque él vive allá. Entonces, vamos a estar escuchando un poquito lo que él hace, lo que hizo y la historia de él. Y hoy también tenemos Lorinda, que ella es parte de Learning Idiom. Ella es parte de Oklahoma. Entonces, si estás en Oklahoma y sabes inglés, tienes que conectarte con ella. También en el final del episodio también van a poder escuchar a mi esposo. Nosotros estamos aquí en Arkansas, entonces tenemos a tres diferentes personas de tres diferentes lugares. Y Dave y su hijo están planeando muchos eventos para personas que quieren ser parte de un evento en diferentes partes del mundo. Entonces, si saben inglés, conéctense con ellos, con él también. Él también va a estar diciendo un poquito de lo que él hace. Am, y ahorita está en el gimnasio, entonces ya saben qué tipo de persona es. Le gustan las cosas de la salud y estamos muy emocionados de poder tenerlo en el canal. So Dave, Hurley, he not only does he do a lot of events, for fitness related people, but also he does a lot of events globally. And I'm sure he's going to share a little bit about the first one that's coming up. I'm super, super excited. So, Dave, go ahead and reintroduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself and what you and Dylan are doing for not just CLA, but for the entrepreneurs of the world.
Sure, thanks so much, Iceland, and thanks very much for having me. I'm coming in all the way from a place called County Cork in Ireland, and I am coming in from your future because it's after 3 p.m. here in Ireland at the moment. So as you probably can see on the screen there, I've got this name after me called Resistance Plan Man. So that was something that naturally happened for me over the last number of years because I'm a specialist in resistance band training. I've been in fitness myself for, let me think, 48 years. I started at the age of 12 in martial arts, so I had a great love for fitness from a very early time. But I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I learned that from my dad, who was a painter and decorator. And I remember when I was like 15, 16, I just knew for sure. I didn't know what I was going to do, but it was going to be something for myself. So in 1994, just to fast forward a little bit, I set up my own print and design business here in Ireland. And I was told at the time I was crazy to do it because it was so competitive and everybody else was doing it and I would probably fail. Well, I wasn't having any of that. Within 5 years, I went on to have a very successful business. Worked for some of the biggest companies in the world, and been a part of my life now for over 30 years. So you might ask the question, where did fitness come in? Well, I started for fitness for myself, and this is kind of quite relative to who I work with now. When I about 10 years ago, I had struggled quite a lot with my own fitness when I got into my 30s. I learned very quickly how you can neglect your own well-being when you become an entrepreneur. Didn't make time for it at all, and I fell out of fitness. And within a number of years, I had put on a lot of weight, and I had no energy and wasn't sleeping very well. So I just remember telling myself, Isla, at the time when I was in my 30s, that I needed to find a way to make fitness work for me. So I, like everybody else, I joined gyms, uh, paid for memberships, but I still struggled. I struggled for a number of years. I kept missing my sessions. It was too much hassle to get in the car and drive to the gym. And I remember saying something to myself once. I said, wouldn't it be just great if I could find a way to work out smartly, efficiently, do it in 30 minutes and do it anywhere? And lo and behold, I discovered resistance bands. And that was the beginning of the change for me with my fitness and how I transitioned from being someone that practiced resistance band training for myself to actually teaching it was I used to be raving to my clients in my printing business about these amazing resistance bands and how transformative they were. And so much so that they said to me, well, Dave, have you ever actually considered teaching this to people? I think you'd be amazing at it. You're so passionate, you look the part, you're very fit, and it just makes sense. So I guess I'm a doer, right? So I'm like, I guess at this point I'm over 20 years in business in print and design. So I decided to go and qualify. So at 50, I qualified as a personal trainer, fitness coach, and nutritionist. And then I started to teach. And I realized very quickly, I said that this was something I was meant to do, so much so that within 2 years of teaching it, I actually walked away from my print and design business, a very financially secure job, to pursue a career in fitness. So it's kind of a summary of how I got to from where I started to where I am right now. And then I guess being in America, that was a gift from COVID because the one challenge I had here in my small county Cork in Ireland was how do I reach a wider audience with these resistance bands? I was working out of a gym locally, so I was never going to reach those people. And then COVID hit us all, as we know, in 2020, and it was quite challenging for a lot of people at the time. But I saw it as an opportunity. It removed geography from the equation. I suddenly
Mhm.
found myself teaching resistance band training online here in Ireland, in every county in Ireland. It got busier. Then I thought, well, if I can do it here, surely I can do it in the UK. So I started feeding out into the UK. And then about 2 years ago, I've always wanted to be in America, right? My wife's family are live in New York for over 4 years. I've got cousins in Toronto. My son Dylan, who you met earlier, I said, he's going on playing tennis for a college in the US. He's heading out to Virginia in August to start a mechanical engineering degree. So it kind of made sense to be out there. And of course, we discovered this wonderful, amazing network called CLA. And for me, that was transformative because once I became part of that, like say it's like part of the family, it opened up so many doors for me. So much so that it no longer became just about fitness. You mentioned earlier about mastermind events. So when I was here in Ireland in my other business for many years, I ran events all the time locally here in County Cork, sometimes up in Dublin, but I never did anything on the international stage. And I learned very quickly when I became part of the academy that anything was possible. So, long story short, on St. Patrick's Day of this year, I announced our very first mastermind event in Monte Carlo in Monaco. So we've named our events the Emerald Isle Power Mastermind. Emerald Isle being very fitting as we're from Ireland, and they're power masterminds because they're going to be so powerful. And I could not believe the reaction I got from people when I announced it. People wanted to know, how do we get in? Well, what do we do next? And I thought to myself, well, I mean, this is not a one-off, right? I want this to be with me for many years, and I'm doing it with my son Dylan, which makes it even more special. So then we said, let's do more. So I announced Oslo in Norway for June, and then I announced Rome in Italy for September. And then I said, well, why not go to Japan? And I announced Japan, Osaka, Japan for February 2028. And would you believe, I've got 8 people on the list, the wait list for Japan already. I haven't even officially opened it, but they're on the list. Monaco is filling really fast, and I'm just so honored to be part of all of this and to do it again with my son just makes it even more special. These mastermind events, by the way, have no connection with fitness. They're not about fitness. They're all completely separate, and that's what makes it exciting because I get the best of both worlds now.
Hmm. That
I
is
think I covered everything.
Oh yeah, that is awesome. I'm super super excited. My husband is very excited for the Japan portion of it. Just because he's a car person. He likes the car scene. And so I think it's really cool that you and your son get to share this experience together and he gets to learn, from not only you, but also, world leaders in the business world. And so that's definitely something that anybody would want to be a part of. And so, um, Lorinda definitely wanted to introduce my co-host. She's, the community director for Oklahoma for the nonprofit Learning Idiom. our mission is to break language barriers and culture barriers by perfecting people's English and Spanish. And these podcasts are our typical book, you know. It's we're like a different type of a virtual vocational academy where we just create content for people to listen to, and that's what we enjoy doing, and that's why it definitely makes it so much easier and so much uh accessible for people all over the world because it's online. And so we've met a lot of cool people. And I met, shout out to TikTok because that's where I met Lorinda. So definitely find us on TikTok if you um, are on TikTok. So Lorinda, go ahead and share with us what you think about all these excursions.
I don't exercise. If I'm running, you better start running too, because something's chasing me and it's bigger than me and it can eat us both. Absolutely not. And I work out enough as a bartender at a club, so
Oh yeah.
Don't worry, I will be the person that if I do attend one of those events, I'll bring the snacks and watch you work out. I'll be like, "Listen, you made me hungry. I'm gonna enjoy this popcorn right here."
Well, I've got very good news for you, Lorinda, because these events aren't about fitness at all.
Oh,
They
thank
They're
really
God.
anything but.
they're
Yeah, yeah, no.
all about.
Well, they're completely separate. They're about transforming your business, collaborating with people, getting introductions to leads, changing your mindset in your own business. And, you know, if you're stuck in your business and you're not sure where to go next, the whole idea of having these mastermind events is like you've got a curated room of 25 businesses come together for 3 to 4 days. And we dig deep. We dig deep and we pour into each other and we share our passion, our dreams, or what we're trying to achieve, and we're learning from people from different backgrounds, different types of businesses, different levels of experience. And the whole idea behind a mastermind, when you look at that in relation to a network event, is masterminds are much deeper, they're much more special, and you're condensing time. You know, and they say you can achieve more in 1 year by being in the right room with the right people than you can in a lifetime of not being. So that's the goal there. So the good news for you is you won't even have to work out.
If that's even better news for me.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, a lot of people, you know, like Lorinda, they don't thrive in the workout scene. I think health related issues do add to that, you know, and so I think I used to be a health coach, but I focused on the food portion of it, not on the exercising. You know what was my favorite type of exercise? I would do hot tub talks. So like I would be in the hot tub and I would be doing bicycles inside of the hot tub. And if you're in the hot tub, you can only be in the hot tub for 15 minutes at a time because then it's bad for your skin and your blood pressure. And so every 15 minutes, I would get out and, just be sitting there and then I would just go back in. And so that was my favorite type of exercise. And I made it a thing for like 2 years, where I would just go to the hot tub and work out. It didn't matter if it was hot outside, it didn't matter if it was cold. It was a year-round thing that I had the ability to do. And so I would always love being in the hot tub and just doing my bicycles or there's little steps, and so I would put my hands on there, and I would, work my arms out, and then I would do like crunches and stuff in the hot tub, and so next after that, then I would go in the sauna. So like, there's so many different types of way that you can work out. That a lot of people they just like walking. That's my mom. Her favorite type of exercise is walking, and like she will walk for like a long time. And so, a lot of people they work out in, the way that they can. And if you can't, I mean that's unfortunate, but I think what I remember about my health journey the most was the fact that you would get so much like natural endorphins when you work out. It like makes you happy. Like chemically it makes you happy.
Yeah. I mean, look, the thing is, I mean, when people in general, like people have a love-hate relationship, let's say, with fitness, right? And the problem for a lot of people is they try too hard anyway. They're all in, right? They get up one morning, usually it's a New Year resolution or something, and it's like, I'm going to change my life and I'm going to give up all those bad things and I'm going to work out 6 days a week. And none of that is sustainable, right? So I take a very different approach to a typical trainer because I'm not a typical trainer because most trainers don't have the life experience that I have. Been in business a long, long time before I was ever a trainer. I train clients who are in their 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, and I've got clients in their 80s. And I teach people how to have a loving relationship with fitness, right? Because it doesn't have to be a challenge. It can be 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 15 minutes. But you don't need to be more than 30 minutes at any one time working out. If you are, you're not working out, you're probably having a conversation on Instagram or something. And because the truth of the matter is, whether we like it or not, when we get above 40, women in particular, you need to look after your muscle because you're going to have a lot of issues down the road when you get older with your joints. And so for women in particular, you've got to really, really find a way of focusing on a resistance training, whether it's with resistance bands, weights, or your own body weight. The message is you got to do it. You got to do it at least 2 to 3 times a week, but you don't need to do it for an hour or 2 hours. You can make it fun. And that's what I teach people because I live in the real world. I don't put people through crazy challenges, boot camp stuff. It's just not what I'm about. And I guess I become very relatable to people because, if I'm training a client who are in their 50s, for example, I'm not this 20-something-year-old telling this 50-something-year-old how to work out and what to do because the 20-something-year-old hasn't lived in the body of a 50-something-year-old. I have. See, that's they're the differences. I understand all of those challenges. I understand the challenge of being a business owner and how hard it is to find time to work out. I mean, I was someone that grew up with fitness. I was exceptionally fit. I did martial arts for many years, and I was in and out of gyms. And back then, when you were a teenager, of course, it was vanity, right? But as you get older, you realize it's more about your well-being and where do you want to be in 20 years' time. You want to be there for your family. You want to be out and about, whether you're playing tennis, golf, or doing gardening, it doesn't matter what it is, you want to be able to do it and you want independence. And the clear message to everybody is if you want that in your life for your future, you got to do something about it now. But do it in a way that will work with your lifestyle and your abilities, and all of that. I mean, I've got clients like who have hip replacements, knee replacements, back issues. I've got a client who has Parkinson's disease. Because my thing is fitness is for everybody. Everybody deserves it. And there's a way of making it work for you. That's kind of it in a nutshell, really.
I mean, that definitely answered, my third question. Let's definitely like I want to know how did you said you started when you were younger. Why did you decide to start your fitness journey later in life rather than when you were younger?
I love y'all, but I gotta go.
See you, Lorena. Bye bye. Yeah, I mean, it's a good question. I guess honestly, like I wasn't ready earlier. I mean, I was very focused on being an entrepreneur, and my fitness was based all around me, not teaching it. It never came into my mind at all way back then. I think I had to live those years, isolate. I had to go through it. I had to, come up against all the barriers myself, because I became a guy who was so fit and so enthusiastic about working out to someone who was all in on his clients when I opened the doors of my business. And, it just happened over a few years. Slowly but surely, I started slipping. I started missing gym sessions. Before I know it, I wasn't going at all. And all that mattered was making the next deadline for my client. Problem with all of this, of course, was while my clients were being looked after, my body was not. And I was feeling very low in energy, wasn't sleeping like I used to be able to sleep, and I certainly wasn't looking the way I used to look. So there was that realization, right? And I did think, because fitness and success in business go hand in hand. If you want to be really successful in your business, whether you one business or many businesses, you need to be full of energy. All right. You need to feel strong. And that's kind of what opened my eyes up to it. I remember thinking I knew I had to do it, right? I knew it was the right thing to do, but I was still challenged. Even when I told myself I said that I need to get back to the gym, I still missed a load of sessions. And the reason I did was the famous word time. Time is the biggest barrier there is to fitness. It is the excuse we all hide behind. But by working with these bands, like especially for people who have many businesses and they travel a lot, right? You can take these bands with you. They're very versatile, they're very portable, they're very light, they're easy to carry about. You hit multiple muscle groups all at one time, right? So it's a very efficient way of working out. And I just so glad that way back then, 18 years ago now, I did discover resistance bands and it changed my life. And it showed me there's a better, smarter way to do it. And I guess then that was the natural progression into teaching it because it was through having passionate conversations with my own clients in my printing business that they encouraged me. My family encouraged me. My friends said, "You would just be so great at this. Just do it." And I am a guy that when I say I'm going to do something, I do it. I follow through. So I did while I was running my business. I went away and qualified as a fitness coach and personal trainer and did nutrition. And I was really proud of achieving. I achieved a distinction when I qualified. And I guess all of those years of learnings all came together. But there's theory and there's life, and the life experience is more important when it comes to how you translate that in the fitness world to people. You can't, as someone that just came out of a college to do a course on fitness with no experience in life, you can't bring that to your clients at all. But I can. So that's kind of how I did it, really, Iceland. It was there in the background for so many years for me, and then it was just felt natural for me to start to teach it. Didn't realize at the time till I did it how much I wanted to change from my printing business. But so that opened my eyes up to a different way, a better way for me. Now I wake up every morning and I love it. Gives me so much joy to do what I do and be part of changing people's lives in their physical well-being and their mental well-being as well, by the way.
I mean that I think that it definitely goes hand in hand. I think whenever you decide to uh make your health important, I think that is definitely something that everyone should do. That's not it's a choice. I think when you create healthy habits, I think it's definitely something that you're going to reap the rewards of that. And so like it's something that whenever I was a health coach, that's something that I really enjoyed is that I got the chance to not only help my mind because you have a clear your mind is more clear. Like you can do things a lot easier because you did your little exercise, you had that moment with reconnecting and with yourself. And I think it's definitely something that a lot of people don't take advantage of, that they can move their body. Um, and so yeah, definitely it's something that I always tell people that it's a good way for you to chemically be happy. Uh,
Yes.
but with that, what is one risk that you would take again? It could be in fitness, it could be in business, just any risk.
I would say very simply betting on myself, right? Because so many people do not bet on themselves. They don't have the courage to do it. Anytime I've ever backed my own vision instead of someone else's plan, it always paid off. It may not have paid off immediately, but in the long run, it has always paid off for me. And it's something I'm very strong about, right? Because taking that risk, my son Dylan's tennis coach said it famously to him when he was struggling with what he wanted to do with college and tennis and everything. He says to Dylan, no great story happened without risk, if you think about it. So that's something that I speak about when I'm at events now, and it's something that I will write about as well, to have that courage to step up and follow your passion, because so many people get stuck, don't they? And they stay doing the same thing because they feel like it's too late. That maybe they're financially in with their family, they've got mortgages, they've got car loans, maybe they've done so many years in college doing masters, and they say, well, I've invested so much, I just got to keep doing what I'm doing, but they don't love what they do. Very few people love what they do. This is what I've learned. I'm going to assume it's the same in the States. I know in Ireland, it's quite common that a lot of people are just stuck in a rush. And I'm the guy that at 52 years of age walked away from it all and went at it again. And I'm living my best life now for certain. And I'm actually like, I'm fitter now than what I was 25 years ago. And that's a statement because it's a true statement because it is exactly how I feel when I look back at those years.
That is definitely something that not many people can say. Do you love what you do on a daily basis?
Mm.
Do you regret, Monday mornings? Like, are you that person that's like, oh, I don't want to go to work. It's Monday morning. It's a Monday. But when you get to do what you love, then it's like, oh, you're excited to do your job. You're excited to, it doesn't feel like work sometimes. And so I feel like that's something that, when we created the nonprofit, I wanted to have it like structured in a way where it didn't feel like work. It felt like let's hang out with our friends. Like, let's practice languages. Let's, educate people on certain topics. So with that, if life was a lesson, what would you say it's been teaching you using one word or phrase?
Well, I'm going to use a phrase, and I mentioned this when we were on earlier. Proximity is power. You surround yourself with the right people, anything is possible. And one of the best things that ever happened to me in my life, whether it's my personal life or my business life, happened by having the right people around me. And, that really leads into my goal and my quest with what I'm doing with the Emerald Isle Power Mastermind and that series of books that we're going to be doing, which are called Proximity is Power, because it's so true. People often ask me, Iceland, so how did this small printing company in County Cork in Ireland end up working for these big brands? I got in the right rooms with the right people and I built amazing relationships with them. And it was life changing for me. So that's my message, Inquiry. Listen, get in the right room with the right people. You don't need a lot of people in your life. You just need the right people around you. That's what I've learned over 32 years of business anyway.
That is very true because, we live in the life where, they always ask you, oh, how many followers do you have? How many subscribers do you have? How many people are watching your content? And it really boils down to not necessarily caring how many people follow you. What impact are you actually doing to the world? Like to me, that's more of a, you know, I guess it's just to me that's more of a real question because so many people can have a lot of followers, but what are they doing with all those followers? Like, are they actually producing something successful? Are they actually happy in their life? So I think that definitely is something that needs to be spoken about. So as a father, what advice would you give to someone who's scared of betting on themselves, but wants to build their own legacy instead of someone else's?
Yes, it's a great question for me. As you know, our kids are always watching everything anywhere, aren't they? And I guess like the greatest legacy lesson you can teach them isn't to play it safe, actually. It's to back yourself with courage. I look at Dylan and for all his learnings in the classroom, he's learned a lot. His ambition has been learned from watching me over the years in business. And, you met him earlier. He's 18 now. He's heading to Virginia on a scholarship. He's playing tennis with a college and he's going to do a mechanical engineering degree. He loves cars. He loves Formula One. He loves business and he loves meeting people and learning from them. And it's just amazing for me that Dylan has now naturally become part of the Emerald Isle Power Mastermind and will travel the world with me. So it's great to think that although he's away now for the next number of years in the US from August, I'm going to meet him in all these amazing locations. He'll be flying in from the US into Monaco. I'll be coming from Ireland and we'll be doing the same for Oslo and the same for Rome and Japan. And I'm very, very excited about that. So if you can manage to find a way of doing that with your own children, it'll be so fulfilling. Honestly, it really will. So yeah, you just teach them to back themselves. Yeah.
And that's definitely a good segue to introduce my husband into the episode because if anybody knows anything about my husband, the number one thing that he'll always talk to you about is cars. That's why he's a mechanic. That's what his love of cars is something that I've always listened. I've always tried to understand because I don't know car talk. But my dad was a mechanic. My oldest brother, he was a mechanic and he still is a mechanic for the Marines. He works on tanks. And so,
Wow.
yeah, so all of that world has been close to me, but not something that I know at all.
Well,
And
listen, I'll tell you, I mean, I love looking at cars and driving cars, right? But I don't really know a lot about the workings of the cars. That's where Dylan comes in because Dylan has that mechanical brain. He loves everything to do with the engines and all of that. I just like driving nice cars and watching F1 around the track and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, see that we have that in common where I don't know anything about it, but I like being a passenger princess is what they call it now.
Yes.
And so I was very grateful and thankful that my husband likes driving because I do not. And so
Well, a match made in heaven then.
it's well, I think it just honestly it's because in my previous marriage I always had to drive. So like I got tired of always having to drive everywhere because I had a license, he didn't. He was an immigrant. He didn't have a license at the time. Now he does, but I'm not with him anymore, so it doesn't really matter. But my husband, he loves just like, he doesn't allow me to drive and he does the gentleman thing of always opening my door, even after 5 years. So, all the ladies out there, yeah, if they did it in the beginning, make sure you're making them still do it at the end. You're right now because listen, they always say, whenever you meet your significant other, don't ever stop dating your spouse. And so I think it's something that both me and my husband, we try our best to always have little date nights and stuff. Speaking of cars, today we have a car show later on today.
Wow.
So definitely wanted to, have you meet the Monarch of Fire. That's his podcasting name. In the comedy world, he's known as the modern day Noah because of his love of animals. So definitely unmute and meet Dave. This is my husband John.
Hey, John, nice to meet you.
Hello, how are you?
Very good, thanks. We were chatting about you earlier. Isley was telling me all about your love of cars and, of course, having that connection with Germany. And we spoke about how Germans do all of that stuff so much better with precision, right?
Well, I actually have more of a connection than with Germany. So, believe it or not, me and you are two of the same. On my
Wow.
grandmother's side, she is Scot Dutch Irish.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yes. So, if you actually look a little closely around the tip in my beard, you can see some tint of red. That's where the Scot
Ah,
Irish comes from.
wow.
But I
Do you
get
know
my
what part of
height
Ireland
and
she hails from?
huh?
Do you know what part of Ireland where they've been
All
from?
that I know is that her maiden name was Holbrook.
I heard that name before in Ireland.
So that might be more of the Scottish side. I'm not
Yes.
1000% sure. Um, it definitely gets really interesting because I am finding out more and more things about the family as I get older, doing my what's the word I want to look for?
Family tree?
Well, no, it's my curious mind. Like I am curious to see, where the family comes from, where we started, but the majority of the family is German and
Okay.
Cherokee. Um,
Wow.
so like for me, I actually do plan to visit Scotland. I do plan to visit Ireland because it is part of the family, and it's also been like a personal want to journey. Like I want to visit like the Green Acres, the White Castles, really take part in the local culture because I actually have had Irish food. I've had Scottish food. It's a little different than what you would get here in America. Like it's not the same kind of cuisine, so to speak.
No, it's not. I learned that when I went to Pennsylvania last November. My son Dylan and myself said, "Hey, the food is different here."
Like I know people that are over there, like they eat goat heads, and they eat different bizarre types of foods that, like, and our brains here just doesn't make any sense. Um, like I've had real like Irish potatoes, for instance, like that. Having a meal like that compared to like just a mashed potato dinner here, it's not the same. I feel like there's more that goes into it.
Yeah, well, we're definitely we don't home in on the processed foods so
Mm-mm.
much here in Ireland. You know, a lot more natural cuisine, I guess, as well. You know, because there's so many farmers here in Ireland as well. You know, we've got that whole background. So, like, you know, beef is so really good here in Ireland, for example, or poultry. You know, or organic produce. It's really good food. So we've got some amazing eating places here in Ireland. Actually, here where I live in County Cork in particular is were famous for its cuisine.
Yes, so believe it or not, so as she told you, I do comedy. I
Yes.
love getting to do that. I love making people laugh. So, excuse me, coffee. Um, I would like to say that I feel like I could pass in either Ireland or Scotland, just because I think I've got the accent down pretty well.
We'll find out in due course.
um, because I sometimes like. Here's the thing: I make other people laugh, but I have to make a way to make myself laugh. Okay, so I kind of use my voices for evil some days.
All right. Okay. Yeah.
um,
Good idea.
I've been through drive-throughs, especially drive-throughs, because they can't see you, so
Mm.
you're not expecting me to drive up. All you've heard on the other side of that microphone. I've done this several times, and it makes people laugh. Um, they would ask, the first thing they would ask you is, "Are you all right? How's your morning going? Are you doing good?" "I'm doing very good." "I'm having a great time."
Not bad. Not bad. A bit of Scottish there for sure.
And then they see me pull up to the window, and it's like, this is not who we thought we were listening to. So in my mind, that's my form of entertainment whenever I can essentially make myself laugh, but you still gotta laugh in the process. And
Yeah.
like, that's the biggest goal that we try to do with our nonprofit is find alternative ways to make people smile, make them laugh, help them have a great time. Um, and that's kind of where it leads into my first question is, when did you realize that you weren't having a great time with your life? And what did you do to correct that?
Well, I mean, I guess sometimes we need to do something else to realize what we were doing wasn't what we were really meant to do anymore. So it was that kind of eye-opening moment for me when I started to initially teach people fitness. I got such a great feeling from it. I realized quite quickly, actually, that the passion and drive I had in my other business wasn't there anymore. I was tired from it. So it was probably happening for a good number of years, but I couldn't see it properly till I stepped outside of that environment to do the fitness. So in a way, the fitness saved me, you know, because when I initially started doing the fitness, it was because I knew myself with all of the hours I was spending with my business, I was working crazy hours. I was neglecting my health and I wasn't feeling good like I used to feel once upon a time. I was aware I was getting older, and old doesn't have to be a bad thing, right? I mean, there are people who are in their 30s right now who probably feel like they're in their 70s and 80s because they haven't looked after themselves at all. So once I started getting a hold on my own personal fitness myself, and realized the benefits that came from that, it was great then to be able to transition from that into now I have an opportunity to teach other people how to do that for themselves and be part of changing their lives because I spent loads of years changing their business lives through branding and design and all of that stuff. Now I got to do it with them themselves because and I'm sure it's a thing across the globe, right? It's not just here in Ireland. Like the amount of successful people I worked with in business who did everything right except look after themselves. Like they'd put more value and spend more money on their cars, on their businesses, on technology, and they do nothing for themselves. But I think everybody at some point has a realization, and John, it's like you're hoping you're not sat in front of a doctor um, being told some news that you were not expecting to hear to make you change your mind about how you look after your life. You want to do that before you get to that point for sure and give yourself the best chance. We'll talk about legacy and being there for our family and all of that stuff, right? If we can't look after ourselves or love ourselves, we have no chance of doing it for anyone else. So we have to put ourselves first when it comes to our well-being, and that's a message I'm very clear on when I speak to people. And outside of that, because I guess I did take that big step and that big leap, and I was 52 and I did it, right? At 52, I'm here and I've got this successful business, very financially secure. But I knew it wasn't what I wanted to do anymore. The passion was gone. I needed something else in my life, and I took a big chance. I took a big risk, stepping away and going after fitness, a whole new career, and not even realizing at the time that COVID was on my doorstep, which obviously was bringing so many different challenges to people. And I just turned what could have been a real big negative into a massive positive because I stepped up and I said, okay, how can I make this work for me? And I guess this is where life experience comes in, right? Had I not had all that experience behind me, maybe I wouldn't have made that decision. But I just knew something felt right about hopping online with my fitness and taking a chance and seeing how I could make it work. What was interesting was it worked exceptionally well. The resistance bands were almost designed to be an online tool. And I can tell you, it changed everything for me, John. It took me from County Cork around the world, literally, with my business. And I got to meet some amazing people along the way. My business is primarily in the US now, right? My fitness business and my mastermind business, right? So yeah, I'm looking forward to the next 10 years.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely are very much looking forward to visiting you with you in Osaka. For me, that's a car guy's dream come true.
Yes.
I fell in love with cars at a very young, early age. Watching my dad work in body and his own body and auto shop. And so the bit of cars I fell in love with were Japanese import cars. And then that's where my love began for mechanics and automotive engineering and design and ingenuity. And so, I've used that as like a focal point to reach others. And so I brought lots of people along the journey with me because I could communicate with them through a same passion. And that's the most important thing
Mm.
in life is if you don't love it, don't do it. If you
Yeah,
can't
listen, I couldn't
if you
agree with you
can't
more.
reach them, don't do it. Like
And funny enough, you mentioned Japanese imports and stuff, and I had a few of them too. I loved Honda, right? Honda were real Japanese. I had Honda Civic, Honda Accord, Honda Preludes, I had them all, and I loved them all. Like Honda was one of my favorite cars at the time.
I still have
So I
one
can
sitting outside in the driveway.
completely relate to you there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but
But follow
she's
your
she's in
passion,
parts
John,
right
for
now.
sure.
I need parts right now, so she's sitting in parts.
Mm.
um, but that leads me to where you were talking about being able to have health for yourself. It's we work with one of the highest paid doctors in the state of Texas. He's a neurologist by the name of Dr. Rob Kelly. And something that has kind of furthered the way that I reach people is being in these seminars and these vocations with him. It's actually true that one in like every 1,000 people learn to use the other side of their brain. For not just for mental capacity, but for physical well-being. So something I would like to practice with you, because I do have a couple more questions, but I would like to practice one of our um, methods of mental health with you to see how you physically feel after trying it. Because what a lot of people do is they do repetitious breathing. So we just kind of like get up every day. We never really focus on our breath and getting the oxidation to our brains. And that is where a lot of misaligned thinking happens, is because your brain is not getting all of that oxygen that it really needs to open up and open your mind up to endless opportunities that you could realistically unlock if you use that other part of your brain. So, I would like to try this quick exercise with you because
Sure.
you are a fitness coach. So, I think you might appreciate the overall feeling of your body after. So, I need you to close your eyes and I want you to take a deep breath in until you cannot hold it no more. And then I want you to release it, but do that 5 times.
And everyone watching, you can do it too.
This is part of our 9D breath work that we're introducing to people all around the country as well as all around the globe. It is the entry point to where we start you, so that way your mind can be at ease when we start you with the headsets. Because these journeys, I'm telling you, they will pull trauma, they will make you scream, they will make you flail your body.
I think it
But
depends.
learning
I
to
think it
open. Go ahead, babe.
I think it depends also on what level of where in your healing journey you are. He didn't mention people scream or people cry or people, do things with their body. I think it depends where in your healing journey you are. I know since you're a fitness person, you move your body a lot, so it's probably, relaxing for you to be able to breathe and to be able to. What's the number one thing when you're doing exercise? What do the instructors always tell you? Make sure you're breathing. So this 9D thing, I think it was a really cool opportunity that we got to experience, and it's been about 2 years since we did it, and we still remember and we still have vivid memories of that experience. And so these types of exercises is something that can truly change your mind in a different way because your body's not used to it. So if you're standing up, make sure you're holding on to something because some people are not used to that much oxygen in their brain, and so they might get dizzy. Um, and so if you're not used to that amount of oxygen in your brain, make sure you're holding on to something.
Well, this breath work that we have people do, it's like an aggressive form of yoga to really open your mind, release your nerves, and get your breath going through your body, get your blood circulating, get it flowing, because then you are now in a relaxed stage. You are now able to really hit your focal point of where not only where we need you to be, but mentally where you need to be. Because in order to really open the key to your brain, and open that vault and let all the bad out, you have to first begin to open. Like it's like the old saying, you if you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. Well, you can't open the vault unless you give the vault man the key. You are your own vault man. You have to be able to open your mind up and look at where you've been and where you're going. You're at a standstill and you need to understand, okay, well, I was here. I want to be here, but I know that I'm right here. So what can I do from right here to get there? And so, that's a big focal point for us, is trying to help others not necessarily win the race, but to finish the race. It's not about who can finish it first and the fastest. It's about how many people you're going to take along with you. It was never the hare that won the race. It was always the tortoise.
So
Which
true.
it leads me into my next question. You
Okay.
know,
Well, how do you feel?
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's exceptionally warm in this gym, right? So that's certainly not helping. There's very little air in this room as it is. But I was listening while I was doing the breathing to you, Isolate, talking, and you're so right. Like so many people, and when they work out, they don't mind their breath at all. They come under pressure and they hold their breath. And I'm saying, like, you got to get that oxygen around the body. you gotta feed the brain and all of that. Like, but so many people don't know how to breathe properly in the first place anyway, you know. So it's interesting how calming it can be.
Yeah, it is. It's like a different feeling. You like I remember whenever I did it, I was like, "Oh, this is different. I haven't experienced this before." Because we're constantly on the go, 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 go.
Yes.
In the Latino world, if you were bored or if you were depressed, if you were anxious, they would tell you to go clean. They would tell you to be more busy. They wouldn't tell you to breathe. They wouldn't tell you to go to therapy. They would and that's just in the Latino world.
Yeah. And that's something that we really do focus on is, your mental health is really what matters at the end of the day.
It is
Nobody,
mental health month, so
yeah, that's
Yes, it is.
exceptionally a big thing for us. So, but it's going to lead into my last question.
So
And I've been really contemplating, what I wanted to ask and how I wanted to ask it. For me, I want to know, at the age that you're at right now and where you've been, where you've gone, and where you're heading, what advice can you give to the next generation of fitness leaders to help them better surround with their communities, help with better outreach, just any helpful advice you could give to them to essentially reach for the stars like you have?
yeah, I mean, listen, it's a great question, John. And I guess what tends to happen in the whole fitness industry, right, across the globe, not just from where I'm speaking in Ireland, um, sometimes there's too much focus put on a number, right? The weight that you represent. It's all about statistics all the time. And there's so much more to fitness than that, right? It's for me, it's about longevity. It's about overall well-being, how you feel up here in your head, how you feel in your body. And they should really focus in on strength. The power of having strength is an amazing feeling. Because with strength comes confidence, comes ability, comes more energy. And I guess for me, and it's something I teach my clients this all the time, you got to do it in a sustainable way. Sometimes the mistake people make, and trainers can fall into this trap as well, is being unrealistic with what they ask their clients to do. Sometimes they don't understand. This is one of the big benefits I have as a person who's in that space right now, having been in my 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and now my 60s, to understand what it's like to feel that age, to have those challenges, how my joints might feel now in relation to how they felt 20, 30 years ago. This is a big advantage point. So I think people need to understand their clients more. They need to they need to really understand them a lot more deeper and understand what are they trying to achieve. And just to teach them that not to be too hard on themselves, John, like that if you make a mistake today, don't beat yourself up about it. Just get back up on your feet again tomorrow and go again. Don't give yourself this excuse to say, well, I messed up today. I'll just keep messing up for the rest of the week and I'll make a fresh start next Monday morning. No, you pick yourself back up straight away. That's all you have to do. And the most important thing is just keep moving. Whether it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes, it doesn't really matter. The main thing is you're doing something. I've often been in a situation, even myself, and I'd be very disciplined, where I'm so busy. It's easy to say, I'll give it a miss, I'll do it tomorrow. But I'd say, no, 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 I'm going to do 10 minutes. I'm going to stretch with those resistance bands for 10 minutes. And I can promise you this, right? I have yet to do a session where I've never where I haven't regretted doing it. You know what I mean? Like I've never done a session and I said, "Oh, I wish I hadn't done that." I'm always so glad I did it because the feeling I get from it far outweighs the effort I put into doing it in the first place. So I think it's going to take time. I mean, when we look at children now and the level of obesity that's coming down the track, I believe I was reading some stats recently that Ireland are on track for being one of the most obese countries in Europe by 2030. Now, that's a frightening statistic, right? So I think education has to start in the schools with children. And for it to be taught to the children, it needs to be taught to the parents because our children become what we teach them to be, right? So, we got to teach the parents first. and then they educate their children, and then the fitness people like me come to these schools and educate children. My own personal goal would be to have every child have a resistance band in their hand and teach them that this can be a fun tool that can really impact them in a very positive way as they get older. And that would be my own personal wish as a trainer now at this stage in life for me. I know that was a long-winded answer to the question, right? But
I think it's really important what you said because even teachers, they notice the difference after PE, after being outside in the playground, they notice a spike in a better like the grade that the child gets after PE and after being outside is always higher than in the morning or like right before they leave. And it's a color like the physical exercise that you do, regardless of how, how if it's really extreme or not, it helps your brain function better. And so I
100%.
think we were made to move. I don't think we were made to be, stagnant and lethargic. We weren't made to be that way. I think that's why a lot of people suffer from depression here in the United States because they have the typical 8 to 5 job or 9 to 5 job where they have to be sitting down for those 8 hours. They have an hour lunch break or maybe 30 minutes, but they don't move their body. They don't get to stand up every hour. I remember reading something about if you sit for 8 hours, um, it's the same, it does the same damage to your body as smoking cigarettes.
Yeah, they're saying it's like the new smoking, right?
Sitting
It's
down
terrible.
is
And
the
even
new
though,
is the new smoking.
but even like, I know it's changing here in Ireland for sure, where we have a lot of standing stations now, where so people don't sit anymore when they're working their computers, right? They're standing at standing stations. This is a real big step in the right direction. They're sitting on better chairs, so their posture's better. And I teach people as well, because obviously, like when I train clients, I have clients who have all kinds of challenges, because they're not like typically in their 20s, right? They're like people have lived life. They could be in their 60s or 70s and they've got knee issues. And I teach them how to work out from a chair with these resistance bands, right? I teach them how to sit on a chair properly because, sort of slouched into the chair, right? And if you sit off the back of the chair and you hold yourself with your core, you're already working on your body, right? Just by holding yourself in position like I'm doing right now. And you see, the whole idea behind focusing on your lean muscle mass as we age is that if you can take care of it, we call it like the organ of longevity. That's what I like to call it, right? So if you can mind your muscle mass as you age, you will be around a lot longer in life and you will be feeling a lot better. But what it does is it pushes up your metabolic rate, right? Because you're going to burn more calories naturally with more muscle in your body, and that will actually take care of the fat on its own. So, if you build muscle, you push out the fat, right? That's a very simple way of explaining it, and your metabolic age will come down. So my metabolic age is certainly much lower than my actual age, right? So that's the kind of stuff everybody can do it, by the way. This like sometimes people say to me, "Oh, it's okay for you." I said, "Well, actually, I've had people who are 20, 30 years younger than me, and they say, I can't do what you do, right?" And I said, "Why not? I'm 30 years older than you, and I'm doing it. You know, you just you
Yeah.
just have to just look. Nike have a great slogan, just do it. You know, too many people procrastinate, and I'm saying, no,
Yeah, I guess Nike
just
was onto something.
yeah, just get it done.
which
Just do it, right?"
everyone that is out there watching, please be sure to stay tuned in with us because here, I believe in February of 2028, we will be going to visit Mr. Dave Hurley in Osaka, Japan. It's going to be an amazing, amazing time. Not just the journey itself, but the things we're going to learn from each other, the things we're all going to bring to our homes from one another, but also the experience of not just reaching you on a business oriented level, but reaching you on that health and fitness level. Because we have a lot of things we're going to collaborate and bring back, discuss, and maybe compare some of our idealisms, compared to where we live and compared to where he's living at currently. But also be sure, we probably will more than likely be including him in more of our podcast episodes. Maybe we could start a new health segment. It's something we have been talking about for a while, where it's just nothing but body and mental health. Um, but I'm going to leave this off to my beautiful wife. She's going to end us out. I need to get ready myself and get ready for this car show to host.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. It was lovely meeting you.
You as well.
Yeah, I think it's really important, especially right now because it is June, Men's Mental Health Month, definitely wanted to thank you for your time and for your knowledge and everything. Just because this is such a special month for men. So happy, early Father's Day to all the fathers. It's next week over here, next Sunday. So you got a week to go find a present for your dad. I think I think fatherhood is such an important thing, especially for a kid's life, I always like to highlight amazing fathers, and I know you're one of them just of what I've seen. And so I think it was definitely perfect timing. You know how they always say divine timing. And so I think
Yes.
the fact that you were the guest for this month, I think it wasn't a coincidence. And so I'm definitely, excited that we're gonna get to travel with you and, stay, in the loop, in the VIP section, how they
Yes.
say, because I think it's really, really cool when you get to meet like-minded individuals. You share that common ground of you want to be better. You want to be better than you were yesterday. And I think when it comes to fitness, that's always something that I've always noticed is that most fitness oriented people are always wanting to be better. Like they're their own competition. Like they don't necessarily always look or do have imposter syndrome. They're always looking in their like within themselves, and they're always wanting to get better and to maintain that level of not only looking good but definitely just having that healthy lifestyle. And it's so important nowadays. You mentioned the obesity rate over there. Here in the United States, there's a lot of obese people here.
Mm.
And so I think it boils down to, like you were saying, the education. Like they're not teaching that. There's so much people that are, their screen time is up, which if you're watching this, we're not helping that right now. But if you're listening to it and you're working out on the podcast, definitely, we're on Apple, we're on Spotify, Podchasers, we're on a lot of different platforms. And so if you're listening to this while you're working out, then awesome. But I think it's definitely a topic that is always relevant. People always want to be healthy, people always want to look good. They always want to feel good. And so definitely, appreciate your time and energy to be on the podcast and share your wisdom with our listeners and our community. Any last words or shout outs or how they can reach you?
Sure. I mean, well, I guess you can reach me. I'm on Facebook most days, right? I'm on LinkedIn as well. I'm very, very contactable if you DM me. And you'll find me on www.emeraldislepowermastermind.com as well, where you'll see those amazing events that we were speaking about earlier, the ones that you're going to be part of, right? And I suppose that a closing message for me would be, like it's one thing to know that you should be doing the working out. We all like to look good, even if we say we don't. But feeling good is even better than looking good, because when you feel good, you're going to look good anyway. But what you got to do is you just got to get started now, remove the fear, and just do it. You will not regret it if you do. That's my closing message, Isolet. And thanks so much for having me here. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, for sure. I think that confidence is something that, when you work out, you build that confidence within yourself. And because you worked out that day, you feel accomplished. I know I felt it whenever I did it. I'm starting to get back into it now. But because we moved, and so finding the right gym, finding the right space, You know, I know with Resistance Band, do you have one that you can show us? Is it that one in the
That
back?
one's behind me here. See?
Okay, see? So for anybody
Right.
who
And
doesn't know, but I'll say it in
just,
Spanish. Para las
just loose
personas
ones there.
Okay. Para las personas que no saben, lo que él ahorita enseñó, esas son lo que él usa para hacer ejercicio. So that is the Spanish word of the day. Ejercicio is exercise. So, but yeah, thank you so much for your time. Say hi to Dylan and your wife for me. I'm looking forward to meeting her. I know, maybe one day we'll have her on Learning with Faith. So you guys can share
You never know.
your love story. I always like to tell people, my husband, he definitely compliments me in that aspect where we're complete opposites, but we have that same mission in mind where we want to, be on the be in the forefront of the positive communication. And so I think that's definitely something that I always like to highlight, marriages because nowadays that's what you need that inspiration to keep going. You need that inspiration. And I remember the wise words of this one couple. What's the easiest way to stay married? You just stay married. Like that's it. So but
But
thank
I'm
you.
yeah, I've got 30, I'll be 30 years married actually this July.
I know. Congratulations. That's a big accomplishment.
It's a big
We're
accomplishment.
only a toddler or not even a toddler yet. It's only 2 years. So
But
we're
listen, trust me, right? The time moves quickly, right? So treasure those years for sure.
We're trying next month.
Oh yeah. So, but yeah, I'm definitely excited to meet you and the whole team and Dylan and everything that he's doing. I'm sure he's gonna have a lot of conversations with my husband because they're car people.
Yes.
And so, if I definitely wanted to shout out Dave and Buster's here in Little Rock, Arkansas. We're gonna be later on today having the car show, so definitely wanted to shout them out, and as well as Simmons Bank because they're one of our sponsors. Um, so, but thank you for all the sponsors that, I wanted to definitely close this out with mentioning Jose Escobar. He's part of Connected Leaders Academy. He's the reason we met. I wouldn't have never met you if I didn't see all of the when you tagged Raul Marin, when you were tagging him, I'm
Yes.
very close friends with Raul. And
Yeah,
so
you mentioned that. Yeah.
whenever I saw you tagging him a lot, I was like, I want to go to Japan. I want to go to Italy. Like, and so
Actually, and Jose is actually in Santorini in Greece this weekend for a
oh,
speaker
that's
mastermind.
right. That's
Yes. So
right.
this
That's
is their
right.
final. This is their final day now. I think they've got some excursion on a boat out in the ocean today. So today is fun day. They've done all of the workshop stuff over the last 2 days, and now today is like fun day. So yeah, they'll be wrapping up, and they'll be all very sad because they'll be heading back to the US and wherever else in the next day or two.
Yeah, it's bittersweet when you get to go visit someplace and then have to leave, especially when you have a good experience. So me and my husband, whenever we go with you, we're gonna extend our time over there because we want to have our own experience, just us two. And so in addition to, the business, we want to have the vacation part of it where we don't have to think about business. We can just think
Yeah,
about vacation.
it's a great idea, and quite a few people are actually doing that as well. I said like they're actually coming maybe a day or two early. I know when I go to Virginia Beach, for example, this summer, we got to Emilio Roman's speaker mastermind event, or sorry, his ultimate beach mastermind event, in on Virginia Beach itself, and it's for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But I'm coming in on the Wednesday and I'm going to have Wednesday and Thursday before the event, and then I'm staying 2 days after. So I'll stay until the Wednesday. So we got a full week of experiencing Virginia Beach and getting to know people really, really well while I'm out there as well. So I think if you can do it and you can spend a little bit of extra time, then do it. But if you can, the most important thing is that you get there for the event anyway, for sure.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure. We're already looking at all the dates and locking them in, just 'cause we know we want to be there. We know we're going to be there, and I think a lot of people, if you just change your words instead of saying I want to do something, I'm going to do it. I think that just that shift is something that you can remind yourself to do it. Like put it on your calendar, put it on your, a lot of people
Absolutely. I mean,
don't.
people got to be willing to invest in themselves more anyway, because that old cliche of you got to spend money to make money. It's so true. You just got to make sure you spend it the right way. Of course, right? You're going to throw your money away, but if you can pour your money into the right things, then you're going to get the benefits of long term for certain. It's always worked for me. I've always made really good decisions with how I invested, and it always paid off.
Oh yeah, and then like there's like so I heard that if you eat out every day at work in 1 month, if you don't eat out, if you meal prep, that's like $300 right there. Like a lot of people, because how expensive it's gotten nowadays, like food here in the States. Yeah, if you decide not to eat out, wake up a little earlier, make your food. If you don't know how to make it, I can teach you. Um, or Raul's wife, she also teaches how to cook. I think most Latino women know how to cook. And so that's something that it's very involved in our life, in our culture. Just like the dancing, Emilio did, yeah, it's part of our
Yes.
culture. And so the food that, my husband mentioned, the reason why he's very food oriented and very, animated, like we said, is because he had a Mexican American stepmom. And so
Oh,
since he was 7, he saw all of that. You know how they say the soap opera dramaticness of the Latino world?
yes.
Yes, he definitely learned that. So, but thank you so much for your time. And we'll see you in those Zoom calls and on Facebook, on LinkedIn. I think you're also on Instagram, and so definitely I'll be leaving your information in the comments or in the description. So thank you so much for your time, and take care, everyone. God bless, and peace be with you.